Gde ste bre ljudi, gde si Strale, gde si Baba Jaga? Vidim da ste se skupili pa rekao da krenem ranije. Stavio sam 1:15 da bude ono kao, sigurno da ću se probuditi, jebi ga. Ali kao, da, možemo i sad. Gde ste dobro, brate? Hvala za lajkove, Gde ste bre ljudi, gde si Strale? Viš, ja sam stavio sebi da vidim. Dobro izgleda, brate. Stavio sam mali delay. Otprilike možda izvalite koliki je delay. Da vidim kako ide, kako radi, brate. Nadam se da se čuje igrica. Ako se ne čuje igrica, recite mi, zato što... Jebi ga, brate, sad je ovo totalno drugačije, šalje zvuk na YouTube. Ali te, bre, isto je podešavanje, ništa mi nije jasno. Nema veze. Ovo je neka, brate, ono kao... Pa, brate, single player story, brate, single player story neki, brate. Nema tu šta mnogo da se sređuje, možemo odmah da krenemo. Oba, tu da namestim guzicu. Tu je kapica, kiselica, milina. Edith Finch, mi smo izgleda riba, brate, nisam znao ko je Edith Finch. Evo majke mi. Aha.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you. And I'm sorry.
Čekaj, dosta toga neće imati smisla tebi, a žao mi je zbog toga. Moram da počnem na početku sa kućem. Čekaj, nema subtitle, pa šta ćemo subtitle, a jesam glup. Šta će subtitle piše ovo na sred ekrana, jebo sebe. Dobra grafika, ovo je stara igra, brate, 5 godina.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Šta kaže ovdje?
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent.
5 godina stara igrica, računi 7 godina, znači 5 i 7, 12, ovo je 2000-te stiglo da se plati. Ugasili struju sigurno.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Dobra grafika jebote, a?
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery was enough to bring me back.
The Finches. Umro je brat, ostavila ključ, a gde je kuća ispod dole, a? Imam neki osjećaj da će ovo bude neki horor. Možda bude malo neprijatno. Daj, ne reč... Vidiš, gde si time? Kakav hoofprints jebe? Kopita? Jelen jebot. Inače ima mali delay, brate. Ja vam odgovorim na komentar čim izađe, ali ne boj se miš. Nije mama pičku rodila, da se mi razumemo, ali naš... Da nije straha, ne bi bilo ni onak.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Ko napravi ovu kuću ovako jebot? Kako te popneš gore na... Štoranj. Milton Finch, to je taj brat.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
A ona se boji kuće, vidiš. Isto, brat. Da li smo ušli kroz ovo sranje ko mačka?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
What the fuck? Dobro, šta je ovo? Me jebe neko.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Bol ti je kuća je... Vi tune šta je? Nije tuna nego... Kennedy. A ko je ovo riba jebe? Tuna ide, neka je tuna. Neka je tu. Da.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Eddie Don Lewis.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Ha, da ja.
Or how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Jel su jeli šta kašikom je? A vidiš. Apple pie. Vidiš što imaju.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Pa dobro. Šta će strpali babu u dom za starce? Jebote, ko da sam na poslu, vrate. Mi ja na poslu, ovako onim telefonom, ako mi pokažu. Evo, oselim, evo. Ovo ti jedno 40-50 inča TV. Dobar sto,
Even the
težak.
fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Potonula prava kuća. I što imaju bubeštije? Strala ovo neki tvoji? Muzička kutija, a?
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Mislim da prebacim kameru na drugu stranu, jer ovdje možda bude chat. Ali ko jebe mene, vrat? Možete gledate chat i ovam bude čista igra. Okay.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
A ne, to nije ključ za to. Pa nije ni za vrata, boga mi ovdje ide stari ključ. A, mada možda i ne.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Dobro, oni su se izgubili su, vidi koja brava, pa šta, još su ga ovdje, vrate, pur penom napunili, pa šta krijete iza jebot?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Ovo ime je biblioteka. Šta je biblioteka 2 sa 2 jebote? Gde si, Marso? Pa znam, možda budem prešao za ovaj stream. To sam i napisao u opisu. Vidim čitaš opis. Vidim čitaš opis. Neka, dobro.
Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Kliknite taj like, nemoj da vas sanjam. Mora pumpamo lajkove, brate, da bi vratili algoritam. Sjebo se algoritam YouTube-a skroz.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Brate, oni su svaku sobu zakucali. O, vidi ga, što ima bradu dobru
His
jebot.
father Odin built the original house.
Gospodin.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Šta, 44. živjela do 60. Se naživjela.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
A Vince? Ne, kurac Vince.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
Ne seri.
I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Dobre tapete je.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
O ti dedi ludice.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Ne seri.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. From the paintings on the wall, it's clear my brother Milton had been here before me. But I had no idea what
Da
was
se
behind
brat
them
nije
door.
izgubio.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Vidi, brate, što poseče zvezdu jebem ti.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here. Before my mom
Od
sealed the
39.
doors.
do 49. Što je živjela 10 godina. Ma šta su im ovi brisi deca pomrla, bre, jebot.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Ono i zvezdicu morsku da si jela jeb. Pi bre, ono... Glodar neki živi tamo jeba.
I kept eating and eating.
Jela pasta.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Nije ni čudo što im pomru deca, viš ti ovo. Se čuje igrica dovoljno glasno na streamu, brat? Ne znam kako čujete igru.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Ti ćeš mala jebot.
And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Jebote, pretvori se malo u mačku.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Idi ovo jebote. Čuje se okej. Hvala ti time.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl.
What the fuck?
all I
Ona je
heard
sanjala,
was the
bro.
wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Koja igrica je?
Rabbits.
Dođi, Zeko! Dođi, Zeko, da te čapim!
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
chew
but
one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Nisam očekivao ovako igru, nisam očekivao ništa, vrat. Nešto iz prvog lica, ono... Koske mi je ovo preporučio, vrate, ono... Pokazuje mi neki video kratak, ali nisam očekivao da će bude
A
ovo.
mama rabbit.
Mama deka, vrate.
She was almost too big to carry.
Bukvalno ste
I
otrovala,
started
vrate.
choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Dobar je zvuk, hvala Pera. What the fuck? Whatever.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Stani bre, poko. Gde ode? Hajde, no.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Ujebem ti.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Aute, bro, su napravili igricu.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
U seriju. Koliko zečeva jede pičurina. Man show je, sad ćeš da vidiš. Tada malo kasnije stream. Nadam se da je bolji kvalitet zbog toga da nema one fragmente i ono, ne znam kako vam izgleda. Trebalo bi da bude čistiji, brat.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Oh jebot. Al garant se otrovala, što kaže strale ovdje. Ujebote, a?
I got closer and closer.
Ovo je Molly. To je njena soba. Nemoj zajebavati. Može gore, ne može gore. Jebem ti. Može uz ovo? Neće da može.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
What the fuck?
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Bukvalno je, evo te pojede sebe.
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here. I grew up looking at Molly's room through people. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Pacovo, brate.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Da, viš, sova, mačka, zec, patka. Nema ribice više. Viš, tu ima bubeštije.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Prababa što je imala kiseonik.
We got along and it was a good place to hide from my mom. Her room was like a museum.
Odin, ko je Odin?
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. And misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse. His wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan.
Ne seri.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Odno je kuću, bat. Kuću na brod.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Oh, jevat.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Lepa im je kuća, vrate, ovako kad pogledaš.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Njima kao da umiru deca, vrate.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Kuće im nije imala, brate, ovaj toranj što je bio kad smo došli.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Beba.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Može ključ u ovo? Sad mi reci da ovaj ključ otvara sve. Pa da. Pa sve, katance.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Koja fora.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
To je bukvalno univerzalni ključ, vrati. Ćemo se zavlačimo dole, a? Mislim. Fort Calvo. A reći što im je do jaja gajba u stvari iznutra, vrat. Svaka soba tematska, vrat.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Do jaja.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
A ga mlati gipsom, bata, vidi ovo, opa. Opa.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom.
Opa.
And he did.
O, gdje si čoda? Dobro izgleda, a? Kaži mi kako ti izgleda stream, brate, ali ima one fragmente, jel se vide kockice, jel nešto? Ili je, brate, clean sve, a? Malo kasni, brate, da bi bio bolji kvalitet, ali... Ja odgovorim čim vidim vaše komentare. Sad nadam se da nije mnogo, brate. Šta ćemo sad? Hoće onda skoči odavde? Šta radi? Ćemo da stanemo? Možda treba da stanemo? Sve je okej, pa do jaja. Do jaja. Baš sam se brinuo za YouTube, zato što imao loš kako se zove? To, strale!
At Barbara's funeral, We swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't.
A napravljeno je
I
Tevra
think Calvin always
da
wanted
sa
to
dve
fly.
palice, jedna palica, jedna noga, druga palica, druga noga. Jo, oba!
But
Depresivna,
that day,
pa se...
he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible.
O, ga ljulja
Maybe
mali,
if I
a?
hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up,
Ja, on je teo ko ljuljaškom.
then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Ne se da je mali riknuo ovako.
I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Uspio je!
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Jel ovo za PC? Jeste za PC, brat. Uzet nam Game Pass, brate, na ono CJS CD Keys,
Calvin's
brate, za
story
tipa
felt strangely familiar.
5
When I
evra,
was
tako
younger,
nešto,
I
5-6
remember
evra.
trying to do the exact
I dobio
same
sam već
thing.
400 igara, brate, na PC-u. Jer bukvalno odeš na Xbox Game Pass, brate, dobiješ, vidiš tamo listu igara, ima gomila igara. Da im deca pomrla, u pičku
After the
materinu.
funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Leti bijeli go. Imaš onaj sajt All Key... Šta si izbogalo? Opa! Kako im je gotivna kuća, vidi ovo. Ali neću tamo. Nismo vidjeli ovdje šta je bilo. Aha, ništa.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Evo ga ovaj, brate, vinski podrum, brate. Ovaj vinski podrum, kabinet za vino. Milton. Ovdje ona mala bila, brate, Barbara.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Dreadful stories.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. Barbara. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into
What
a
the
table
fuck?
saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding.
O, ne serio, ovo
until
nismo
finally
znali.
the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
Do jaja, brat.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him. Right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the
Do jaja.
box was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Toto jebaću ti majku, šta?
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
U pičku materinu, brat.
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well,
Какой
I'm
идиот.
not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb,
Štakica.
have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay,
Maš taj.
I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Ovo ne baš merden. Gde su stepenice, jebem ti? Samo ti bacaj stvari, mali, sve ćeš ti da skupiš.
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents
Daj
are
mu
urged to
kida,
lock
brat.
all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
What?
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he knew because he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
Jebem li ti sunce. Opa, opa.
He wasn't moving. but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Izudaramo ga do smrti. Smiju the voice actor. I don't know, but it's cool. Sad će da ustane. Znao sam.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
What the fuck? Ne.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara.
Ma idi bre u kurac jebat.
Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story.
Au do jaja jebat.
Tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Au jebat. Znači ovo je vjerojatno u muzičkoj kutiji dole.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Vidi, oni su zacementirali svaka ova jebena vrata. Koje sranje. Dobro.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Sad idemo dole. A da, vidiš ovdje ovo, brate, kao da se stvarno desilo, brate. I drugi je sto, nije stakleni.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key. Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Daj da vidimo što ima u toj muzičkoj kutiji. Su muve neke čuju. Se ništa ne vidi ovdje, to mrak pada jebot. Aha. Au jebote, a? Vidiš to za bilijar? Bole njih kurac. Gajba kidal.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Gajba baš kida, bre. Vidi patuljci, bre. Si vidio patuljka? Ima i kanu neki, a? Kanu!
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Ništa se ne vidi. Čega
I thought
friždera?
maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Seri. Šta kurac kad se ništa ne vidi?
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Se odgovara svuda, brat, reci.
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
Jebote, oni imaju nuklearno sklonište ovdje.
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
To je ono vreme ako Rusi udare. Walter živio najviše, 2005. Šta kaže ovdje?
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just...
U 12 popodne roka breskvice.
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
It's
been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave, while I still can.
Auter, zamisli ovaj život. A prođi prijatelju. A, čakaj. Kako kuća jebot.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
voz ga opalio. Daj, ne seri.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Radio mu ne radi. Radio ne radio. Što je napravio sebi? Joj, nesretniče. Da pogleda malo kroz prozor.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Ovo je bilo Kenjara, evo.
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
52. 2005. Pa dobro, ovaj najduže živeo, bret. Šta je ono tamo što svetli?
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Totemi!
But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
To ne vjerujem da možemo tamo.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Idemo na groblje sad, ladno.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Ribice, mačke, zečevi, kerovi.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
10 godina jebate. 11 godina. Jedi ovo. Pa lepo groblje.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
Pa deda ovaj njihov umro s onom kućom što je potonula.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
To je ta kuća, brat. Je. Čovjek koji iz Norveške doveo kuću do Amerike
Edie
i
said she
potonuo
dreamed about
ovdje.
the old house every night.
Smo gotovi ovdje?
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Kao da sam nekada davno krenuo da igram ovu igricu, brat. I dobro je što nisam odigrao nikad.
If she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Ja, ali ovi Ameri što ga računaju, brate... Skoči, sestro, skoči, viš da krcka jebenti. Kad imaju tako 22 nedelje trudna, pa koliko je to? 7 mjeseci jebot. Šta ga meriš po nedeljama? Aha, mrde. Nije ni 7, to je, brate, 6 mjeseci.
I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Čekaj, 22 na 4, to je 8, 16, to je 4, 5 mjeseci, 5-6 mjeseci trudna, koliko?
They were both pretty intense.
Ali da je nozi u nje nije rukavica. Ujebote, a? Vidiš šta imao Sam?
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
To prvi selfie, idemo, brat.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
What?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Did you want to get a picture of me or what?
A gde si ti, jebate? Ah.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's this. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Šta da se slika od ostrova? Možda ovako kad bi mogo da uvatimo ovo lepo, brate, ali... Treba to? Šta treba da se slika? Pičica.
Aw.
Pičice. Probamo opet ovo, ne? Obala, ne? Puca flash ovaj, vrat. Koga vi jebete ovde?
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee. Nothing quite like being outside.
Hold still.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Now keep yourself squared up. Great shot, Don! I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Bedaci, vrat.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Ne seri! Oh!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Sam. Lep te jebo. Kako pogine.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Kemara. Sve se manje i manje vidi u pičku materiju. Okej. Kako se izlazi odavde? Dobra ova mečka ovdje. Da nema mi jebati da moramo nazad preko terase. Aha, prc. Koja gajba, brat. Stvarno je magična igra, brat.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Gregory.
Dear Kay,
Razvod.
do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
Sad ide baš heavy priča, a?
Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
Gregory?
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Oh, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Nije se ovdje dete udavilo, bro.
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything.
Dobro, bio je žrabica. Idi, bro, kurac.
I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. I'd be happy to. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Idi u kurac, vrati. Da! Baš jezivo. Don I Gas. Gas je vozio skate, a? Gregory.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Dobro.
When the time for photos
Vidimo se,
came, Dad
strale.
ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Valja što si svratio.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
E pa, ako imaš želje da vidiš neku igru, brate, napiši na Discord, slobodno, brate. Nema na čemu.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Koga su našli, brate? Ovaj mali umro. Ovo sam čekao. A dobro, i bit će ceo gameplay, kako se zove, do kraja.
Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Ova je jedina preživjela tu, jebote. Evo mu ga zmaju. Vidiš što su imali, brate, može si ide gore. Može, ne
My mom
ser.
moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
O, ne sere, viš što je bilo lepo ovdje.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Sanji! Brat Sanji, brat.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Une serije, idemo gore u toranj.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Milton, Louis, Edith, I'm Sage, Basil.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Da. Jebote, sve su zatvorili.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Nemoj samo ova da nestane, jebot. Ej, ljudi, stvarno, ako imate neke ideje, brate, za igrice, ono, bacite na Discord.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Do jaja, brate. Vidi ovo što je pravio, jebot, pa nije bio znam slikar i ovo je arhitekta, dečko. Sjeti što je do jaja, brate.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Seri. Znao sam da će ona vrata dole, brate, da budu prolaz. Gledaj sad.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Edija nismo našli, brate. Gde je Ediju? Možda gore skroz.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
A ne možemo mi. Bedaci, vrat. A stvarno im je gotivna kuća, vrat.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Je dobro napravljeno da ti ne izvoliš da vamo ima prolaz, nego te priča odvuče, vrate, lepo na drugu stranu. I onda kad se vraćaš nazad, lepo vidiš kao, pa vidi ima još.
I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone was hoping to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis.
Da, Louis bio neki duvač, vrate. O, gde si, Gorane? Jebem ti ju! Gde si Gorane, šta se radi jebote? Mora like, klikni taj like bato! Mora like bato! Mora vratimo algoritam je otišao kurac od YouTube-a kako nismo bili ovdje neko vreme. Hvala brate. Kako nismo bili ovdje neko vreme, algoritam je otišao kurac i sad da se vrati to... Čekaj, nešto sam se zajao. Da, ovdje definitivno ne može. Smučio ti se trovo, a? Ma tebra i znaš šta, i meni ne pada na pamet da idem na trovo od kako sam prestao streamujem tamo. Mnogo ružno izgleda platforma, brat. Sad tu kenjali su je s onim interfejsom. Bila je prostija ranije, brat. Mislim, lakše za korišćenje. Da je sve natrpano, neko ružno, brat. Nemam pojma.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
A, legalizuj vutru, ovo ono. Ja, ne seri, vidiš ti ima, brate, kao konzolicu.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Ostali headovi, brate. Svuda je jebote.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Eto ti, brate, pa što to?
He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to...
Zna biti naporno, zavisi koliko, brate, radiš to. Na dnevnom nivou, to je baš je, brate, šta je s njegovim... Šta se ovdje daš? Aha.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
Ha!
He'd feel his way about.
Hvala, brale.
Then something moved. Bats.
Šišmiši.
And toads.
Pa drago mi je da si tu, jebi ga. Čekaj, izgubio sam se. A mora ove ribe tebra da rokaš. Pa da, to je ono malo, znaš, taj trovo je kockarnica jedna, brate, više nego bilo šta drugo, brate. Gde ljudi bleje, brate, satima za 100 dinara, brate. To je ono što je tužno. Jebote, a?
And
Kako je ovo
things
zver?
that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Ovo je bio delo malo, a? Malo šlb.
But he found something more.
Ne seri, vi kako ste napravili ovo lepo, brat?
daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss, but he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Kjera?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Pa, brate, da sam znao da streamuješ, brate, I raidovo bi te I sve u to vreme. Jebi ga.
But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Da, ali viš, ovo je mnogo zanimljivo, brate. Story time. Ja sam radio u fabrici, brate, jednoj 7 godina, brate. I viš ovo kako on radi, te, bra, ovaj posao mahinalno, brate, I mašta sve vreme. Hvala ti, Gorane, puno, brate, hvala puno na lepim rečima, brate. Jebi ga, trebao si da kažeš, brate, bacio bi ti ono I raidao bi te I hostao bi te I sve, sad sam ugasio sve hostove I ostavio sam offline screen da sam na YouTubeu I da dođe ko hoće, brate. Čisto eto, ako se neko pojavi. I sad radio sam, brate, 7 godina u toj fabrici. Pa uglavnom, kad radiš na traci, imaš s nekim da pričaš. Ali desi se, u stvari, pola vremena imaš, pola vremena nemaš. Često se desi da se nekom I ne priča, brate. I onda tako zalutaš, ono, baš odeš u svoju glavu, brate. I mogu nekako da se, relatujem s ovim likom, brate. Mogu da ga razumem, brate, što je, te, bra, tačno ovako, znači ovom palicom desnom, brate, uzimaš ribu automatski, bacaš je u ovo, ona tu odseca glave, a ti si tebra u drugom svetu. Isto tako, brate, šta god, što ja radio na traci na pakovanju. Šta god, brate, da sam pakovo, toliko sam, brate, hvala, brate. Mnogo me podsjećaš na jednog dečka Milana, brate, koji je bio na streamu, baš mi je žao što ga nema više, brate. Dugo nisam video. Samo je nesto jedan dan. Ali drago mi je da si tu, brate. Baš si me podsjetio sad na njega, brate. Ne znam zašto. I... Tebra, znaš ti koliko sam ja bio ono u svojoj glavi, brate, u nekim mislima. Ti totalni si robot tu, brate. Jedino što ti slomljen posle od tog, od fizikalije, brate. Zato što ti stojiš celu noć, ceo dan, brate, I... radiš šta radiš, ali bukvalno je isto ovako kao što su napravili u igrici. Znači ti tebra radiš, to sve ide mahinalno, znači totalno si ugasio si mozak što se tiče posla I tebra samo rokaj, a vamo tebra sam bio stalno u igricama, u ovome, jeste Vojvođanin, brate.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
Ima bata, ne znam koliko reče da ima, brate.
New Louisville.
Pun kurac Haskija nešto, brate. Ja.
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Bukvalno ovo, brate. Uduše, ja nisam odlazio od realnosti, ja sam odlazio u kurac. Igrice nisu realnosti.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
Jeste. Ruduša, ovo je baš prolupo te, bra. A ja mogu da kažem da sam bio malo lud, brate.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a...
Ajde nađemo. Handsome Queen.
Handsome Queen. The Queen was on her own quest for...
Nisi grebator, jebi ga, naš si, brat. Sinister serpents.
Sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her silver harp.
Do jaja, brat. Pa
His
vidi,
chase led
engleski
him to
ima
a
bolju
golden
prođu,
palace
brate, nego
east of the
naš
sun
jezik.
and west of the moon.
Definitivno veće tržište, znaš.
Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming.
Šta si igrao? Jesi igrao jednu igru ili više
And then it
igara?
struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Pa jeste, brat. A samo Warzone, ne do jaja. Jesi menio ime ili si se zvao Goran? S tim drugi
Began to forget the
account.
world we know.
Pune sere, vidi ovo.
I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Jebi ga, bro.
The palace would be packed with his companions. including the wise Calico who'd insisted
Ne,
on
pa mislim,
advising
svaka čast, nego šteta što si prestao, pogotovo što da radiš. Opet, ako ti je naporno i to da, napravi pauzu, se vrati možda, otkud znam, brate, vidi kako se osjećaš. To je najbitnije. Ja sam malo ređe streamujem, brate, ali sam u fazonu da prelazim konkretne igrice i to. Pa imam neke planove posle. Pa došli bi, što ne bi došli.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Tebe da vidi koliko je ovo loše.
The rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Do jaja je, brat. Stvarno je do jaja to, Gorane. Svaki put ga pogledam, ova igra sve istripovanija, pa jebena je baš.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
To je s Edijem, brat. Edija nismo našli. Au, koji bedaci, brat.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
E pa hvala, brat. Pa to je poenta, valjda, znaš.
My mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Pa dobro, ali ako možemo da se podržimo, što se ne bi podržali? Ako, znaš, ako smo okej... Znaš, ja mislim da si ti okej lik, ti mislim da sam ja okej lik, brate. Misliš da imaju ljudi šta da vide, brate, što da ne? Če da vidimo šta se dešava ovdje. A razumeš što je otišao, brate, idete, tu ide.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Au, brat, koliko tužna priča.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Gdje god odeš vidiš ovu prvu potonulu kuću, brat.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
To ja. Baš je tužna priča, jevo.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
U hodniku, gdje je rekla da je poklon nastavila?
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sailed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Ja, to je biblioteka, to je ono da nismo mogli da uđemo na početku, brat.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you.
What happened with what remains of Edith Finch?
On the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Dobra stvar kod YouTube je što ćeš moći da pogledaš, brate. Odeš na playliste kod mene, gore oni tabovi na kanalu, i imaš playlistu za sve igre koje sam prešao do sada na YouTube-u, brate. Imaš sve delove na njima. Također, imaš u onim kao prošlim streamovima dole, brate, skroz kad scrolluješ. Piše, sve piše, da. Kao što na homepage imaš dole, brate, da scrolluješ na prošle streamove.
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Da, kuća se vidi sa svakog prozora jebenog.
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Magla, bro. Za 5 dana, bravo, brat.
I turned around.
Čekaj, gde se okrenulo? O! Bravo, bravo. Ma ne, trovo je do jaja za rast, brate. Brzo ljudi dolaze i zaprate te, nego znaš šta je fora? Ucenjujete platforma i following, brate, na platformi je generalno besmislen, brate. Ništa ti ne znači da imaš 100.000 ljudi da te prati na trovu, brate.
I started seeing things.
Jelen jebot, šta radi jelen ovdje, ovo more? Čekaj da vidimo, brat.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
To stari namještaj iz kuće.
When I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Evo je. Ovo, bab.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again.
Nije dozvolila završi priču.
The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Ona otišla, da.
After that, we moved around a lot.
I dalje nosi ove rukavice pletene.
We both tried to make the best of it.
Vidi ovo. Tako su dobro napravili ovo. Sve stalno možda pomeraš. Čekaj.
My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty
Hvala,
quickly.
brat. Hvala, brat. Hvala, brate, na lepim rečima, stvarno, brat. Čekaj, šta je?
She got better for a while.
Ovo je majka.
And then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. Appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Pa kažem ti iskreno kako jeste, brate, ako mogu ti pomognem nekako mogu, ako ne mogu jebe ga šta da radiš. Napiši je strange brief. O čemu se čekaj, mora se fokusirati sad, ne znam čemu se radi. Koga smo našli? Dnevnik. To od babe.
But now I hope you'll never see it.
A ne one. Ona je napisala za čerku. Ne seri.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Ovo je čerka, viš izlazi iz pičke.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Ne seri. A ti si sin, brat. Ne seri. Au, što je dobra igrica, brat. I koliko traje? Pa 2 čuke otprilike, brat. Do jaja, brat. Svaka im čast. Baš dobra igrica. For Shirley Dallas. Baš dobra igra, brat. Ma ko je ovo? Koliko je trajalo? Pa da, 2 sata trajalo. Koliko je sati? Da. Au, brat. Nadam se da je lepo izgledala igrica, brate, na streamu. Da nema onih fragmenata i sranja, brate. Kako ti je ova nova mapa u Warzone-u? Pa ne igram Warzone više, brate. Smučio mi se. Igrao sam Modern Warfare par dana, brate. I ono, ne znam. Pa ne sviđa mi se, ništa posebno. Mnogo mi je, brate, natrpana u nekim delovima, u drugim delovima nema ništa. Nemam pojma, brate. Gotivim one stare, otvorene mape, kao Rebirth, kao, brate, Verdanski, to. Ovo sve novo mi je... Kako tužna priča, brate. Pa to, ma kad je nešto loše neću da forsiram, brate. Mislim, znaš, ako gledamo zbog kontenta streama, ja nisam Warzone streamer, ja sam, ono, variety streamer, brate, igram sve i svašta. To što se uhvatim ko pijan plota neke igre nekad, to je već druga stvar, ono, znaš. Ali generalno volim da igram razne igre, brate. I prelazimo, ono, na streamu sve i svašta, brate. Samo što, eto, tako se uvatim ko debil nečega nekad, pa to igram mnogo, ali... Kad ne valja igra, ne valja. Kad valja, valja, brate. Baš tako. Jebote, baš dobra igrica, brate. Iskupat ću još ovakih igara, brate, sa... umeđu vremenu. Treba da nam izađe, brate, Spider-Man sad. Joj, to ću da pređem, brate. To ću pređem možda 100%. Mislim, igrat ću ga na streamu, kako se zove, story. Ali ću van streama da igram side misije. Mislim, one side misije koje su ono, tipa uhvati robota ovog vamo ili tako neke gluposti. Samo za se... Čekaj, što si ga zagrizao? Nisam sad skonto. Sviđa ti se? Trenutno. Naložio sam se do jaja. Do jaja, brate. A, ti možda igraš bilo koju priču zapravo. Ljudi, moram do WC-a, dolazim za minutu, bukvalno. Samo pušam ljudi. Dolazim za minut, za brba. Do jaja jebate. Sam se iskenio. Čini mi dobro. Pa. Vidi ovako. Ovo smo završili. Da pogledamo malo šta ima od igara, šta bi mogli sljedeće. Ili da sačekamo Spidermana da izađe. Ovo možemo da obrišemo, ne treba. Šta ima ovdje dobro, a? Neka priča. Ako ima dobro neka da nije nešto previše velika, da možda opičimo jedan stream, možda ove i sljedeće nedelje par streamova dok ne izađe Spiderman i onda kad izađe Spiderman igramo Spidermana. Kakva je situacija sa Warzone 2? Pa brate, izlači u decembru, ono, nemam pojma. Ništa se više ne zna, mislim, gomila onih stvari što smo pričali ranije, to je to. A što se tiče same, kako se zove, same igre, ne znam, čeka se Modern Warfare 2. Ja imam neke planove da pravim neke takmičenja, brate, kad izađe Modern Warfare 2, iz Modern Warfare 2. 1 do 2 takmičenja mesečno, ako bude bilo 2 takmičenja mesečno, nagrada će biti, recimo, 50 evra. Za pobednike, pobednici uzimaju sve. Igraće se duosi, 2 na 2 će se igrati. I ono u braketima. Igraće se turnir, malo će sporije trajati, zato što ući ćemo 3-3, Luka, Machina Ultima, i ja ćemo da uđemo, brate, u oba tima i da spektatujemo gledalce. Čisto ono, zato što jebi ga, brate. Znamo kako izgledaju, brate, ljudi koji čitaju, ne želimo samo niko da čituje, pošto anti-cheat za igru ne postoji, to je najbolji način da se isproveravaju ljudi. Također, isto dobar način da se pokažu neki dobri igrači, brate, na streamu, ono, community-u i generalno odličan content, brate, za video, za stream, znaš. I onda sam u fazonu, brate, da, oni ja ćemo da uđemo, brate, igrat će se 2 na 2, oni ja ćemo biti po treći lik. Game modovi, sve to sam već osmislio, neću ništa da pričam dok ne izađe. Tako da, to je neki plan kad izađe Modern Warfare 2. Pa dok Warzone 2 izađe, kad izađe Warzone 2 pričat ćemo o Warzone 2. Za sad je ono što je na vidiku je taj Modern Warfare 2, pa da se ne zalećemo. Čekaj da vidimo šta ovdje ima. Hitman mi se nije dopao. Krenuo sam ga igrati na jednom od prošlih streamova, ali nije mi se dopala igra. Guardians of the Galaxy smo prešli, brate, na trovu. Jebi ga, nažalost ga nema ovdje. Mass Effect smo prešli, ceo serijal smo prešli, brate, na trovu. Gledao si ono Exposed 4K. Pa cool je lik, šta znam. Cool je lik, mislim, sad toliko, brate, meni je čudno, znači, ja izvalim tebra kad ljudi čituju. I ono, izvališ kad imaju soft aimove, izvališ kad imaju, brate, ono, wallhacke, imaš, znaš, jer neke stvari, brate, neke stvari su tako, ono, tako ružne, brate, ono, ali imaš i ljude koji znaju da čitaju i baš ih teško izvališ da čitaju, ali, znaš, ali meni nije neverovatno, ja znam bolje igrače od mene koji dalje ne mogu da izvale kad neko čita. Izvale onog debila, razumeš, koji je kupio aimbota i lepi mu, brate, kroz sve njega, izvale, brate, ali ne mogu da izvale, brate, ove čitere koji znaju da čitaju. Ali dobro, eto, hvala Bogu, brate, Luka isto zna dobro kako izgledaju čitaju. Luka i testirao čitove, brate, ovaj Machina Ultima, Ne, da igra on Warzone sa čitovima ili tako nešto, jednostavno godinama, pošto je bio profesionalni Call of Duty igrač jedno vreme, oni su pravili privatne servere na kojima su koristili čitove i znaju tačno kako se šta podešava, kako šta radi, dosta sam pričao s njim, brate, i onda svakako, ne, i mi ćemo biti anti-cheat, znaš. Mi ćemo definitivno biti anti-cheat, kako se zove. Ali ne bi verovao koliko sam ja nov, brate, igrač u COD-u. Ja igram COD od kad izašao Black Ops, brate. Znači, to je godinu i 8 meseci sada. Od decembra ga bukvalno igram, pre godinu i 8 meseci. Početkom prošle godine sam krenuo da igram. Aj možda odmorim, brate, do ovog, kako se zove, do Spidermana, pa igramo Spidermana. Jer će biti ovako, Spiderman izlazi 12. Da ga pređemo 100% će, recimo 2 nedelje, neću streamati svaki dan, iskreno nemam želje da streamam svaki dan. I onda će tamo početkom septembra da bude, brat, Modern Warfare 2 beta. Nije bitno koliko se ulažeš, nego kako plastiraš sam content. Pa u suštini da. Nije bitno kako igraš igrice, brate. Ljudi to ne kapiraju, streameri, brate. Postoje ti streameri koji dobro igraju, ali ti streameri koji dobro igraju, ako slučajno promene igru ili ako im crkne igra su u kanalu, eventualno ako ne postanu dobri, brate, u nekoj sljedećoj igri koja je izuzetno popularna, ali pitanje je da li im se to sviđa. Ali generalno je, brate, fora šta ti možda predstaviš ljudima, brate, koliko njih to zanima, kako ti predstavljaš stvari, brate. Da li je zanimljivo uopšte da banu, brate, da li hoćeš da im daš pažnje, razumeš, kada su na streamu. Imaš ljude koji tebe, pa, brate, imaš svakake ljude, nije ni važno. Nego šta ima ovdje od igara? Jebote, ništa nema. Nije bitno kakav si čovjek, bitno je kakav si čovjek. Tako je. Unak sve znaš, jebote. Brate, jebote, sve znaš, brate. Telling lies, tell me why. Tell me why telling lies. What the fuck? Jebote. Oj, ganke, smeće. Pešak. Outer Worlds je dobra igra, ali brate, evo, još jedna stvar. Time to beat Outer Worlds. Samo. Gorane! 13 sati glavna priča. Što znači da će za nas da bude 10 sati glavna priča ako igramo samo glavnu priču. Ko je pravio ovo?
The Outer Worlds is the you got chocolate and my peanut butter of RPGs. Obsidian, a developer that's made sequels to both BioWare's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and Bethesda's Fallout 3, has merged these two distinctive flavors, and they taste great together. I wouldn't quite call this Space Frontier themed adventure the best of both worlds, but it's a creative and well-made take that's both familiar and new all at once.
Da se razumemo, IGN je kurac za reviewove. Ali me čisto zanima kako izgleda, sad ću ovaj malo da kažem, ne mora da tražim neko drugo.
In a fleshed out solar system ruled by corporate feudalism and full of dark humor.
I'd shake your hand, but I've been hauling corpses.
Everywhere you look, there's a satirical slogan or mascot.
And it's not the best choice, it's Spacer's choice.
A worker being treated as hilariously disposable, and oppressive policies keeping everyone in line. And as a big fan of the short-lived sci-fi western show Firefly, I spotted its influences everywhere. From the brand name of the energy weapon ammo to the fact that your junkie transport's young naive engineer lady talks like this.
Load vapors into a liquid propellant tank? I think I know how to do that.
It isn't hard to picture Captain Malcolm Reynolds reading off some of the more sarcastic dialogue options either. In some ways, it's nice that the story doesn't put a face on the evil corporate board that rules over this isolated colony until around 2/3 of the way through the roughly 30-hour campaign. On one hand, it feels aimless for a long time. But on the other, the quest to help a mad-ish scientist revive your fellow colonists from hibernation kind of fades into the background as you casually wander into the middle of morally gray conflicts and pick winners and losers, sometimes by shooting the losers.
Nope. Nope. Što mi pukne ova slika, brate, kada promenimo na... Možda je bilo full screen. Jel? Nešto ga resetuješ, jebem ti leba. Jakuza. Pa da, mislim da definitivno nema igara. Watch Dogs možda. Bol mi se ne igra. Ma, znate kako. Mislim da ćemo da sačekamo. Znate šta je fora, brate? Fora što izlazi, brate, baš dosta igara. Aha, evo ga ovdje ovaj. Treba da izađe baš dosta dobrih igara, brate. I onda ne želim sada da igram nešto na silu samo da bih igrao. Evo ga, What Remains of Edith Finch. Dobar, baš dobar je, brate. Prvo ovo, brate. Ghost of Tsushima on PC, brate. Nemoj da se zajebavamo. Ready Player One, jesam, brate, dobar je, baš je dobar, brate. Evo, ovo dolazi na komp. Pa onda imamo, brate, evo samo ovako. PlayStation Exclusive. PlayStation PC is a thing now.
Back to another video, and today I have some pretty interesting news about the future of Sony's PlayStation exclusives and how they're going to be introduced to the PC market. Now recently, God of War was announced for PC, and we also know that Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection will make its way to PC as well. Later in 2022, so it's undeniable at this point that Sony is bringing their exclusives to the PC market. A few days ago, someone on Reset Era noticed the change in the PlayStation label used on Steam. It has been changed from PlayStation Mobile to PlayStation PC LLC. And it seems like this was registered by their California-based headquarters earlier this year. Although it's just a name, it really feels like they're getting serious about entering the PC market. And it does make a lot of sense, because a PC offers better graphics, and more upgrade options, and a greater variety of games, usually at a cheaper price. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone were really well received. And they're still selling in high numbers, because to be honest, it's all about making money at the end of the day. And considering the millions of PC gamers, it would be a really good decision if they expand their games to PC as well, including day one releases on both PC and console. Microsoft is doing this with their games, which can be played on PC, through services like Game Pass, and it's not like they're not for PlayStation users as well. Now there's one more game called Sackboy, A Big Adventure, which was recently listed on SteamDB, but was soon unlisted by the developers. For those of you who don't know, it's also a PlayStation exclusive. Maybe not as popular as the other first-party titles, but it's still quite well known. I hope you guys remember the GeForce Now leak from last month. Well, guess what? Sackboy was on the list, and I have a really good feeling about it. Other games like Ghost of Tsushima.
Ovo me dosta zanima.
ARMS is gonna be like big bleeds. ARMS is gonna be interesting. I feel like there's gonna be like a lot of theory crafting and testing of different
Tero,
builds.
Warrior će bude brutalan. Ono što sam gledao, brate, Fury i Arms, proti nisam gledao Talent 3. Ali,
speed impairing effects
kako
are
se zove...
suppressed, basically, that reduces the effectiveness of them. D-stance is just what D-stance was.
Ove neke stvari će da kidaju.
The city is in danger. It needs our help.
All of our help.
Dobra, ovo je da čekam.
We'll call the play, coach.
Hello, New York! Coming through.
A jebi ga, ultra wide, nemamo, brate, ekran, šta radiš? Mogu bi da napravim stream da bude ultra wide, nije problem. Možda ga forcuješ u ultra wide, brate.
You know, people don't use banks anymore. You're lucky you found actual cash.
I don't know if I can beat him. Maybe you can't. Maybe Spider-Man needs help.
Guess I gotta play harder to get.
I don't feel like a failure. I feel like me.
Get more backup.
And lock down the airspace.
You have to learn to swallow that Parker pride and accept that you're human, like the rest of us.
Hey, Yuri. I caught the bad guys, but... Fight what?
Last of Us 2.
You might want to bring a ladder.
A si igrao Last of Us Keca, brate.
How's it going, everyone?
In the game. In my opinion, I just feel like this suit's design could have been done better.
Tako da, brate, mislim da ćemo igrati sljedećeg Spider-mana, da neću, brate, da tražimo neke nove igre. Ali ovo, brate, ovo jedva čekam. Mislim da sve te neke igre, brate, koje kako se zove, budu izašle na... Da, ali ovo je nabuđen, gledaj koliko ima ovih sranja te, brate, da ubije ljudi. Mnogo mi je dobar, brate. Zašto je ova slika ovako loša? To loša je svakako iz nekog razloga. Brutalno izgleda Ghost of Tsushima. A Last of Us ako bude... Činimo. Da li postoji lista, brate? These are the games. Helldivers, Volena Skurac. Everybody's going to the Rapture. The list on PC, aha. Predator Hunting Grounds. Days Gone, to smo prešli, God of War. Spider-Man Remastered i Miles Morales, oba dolaze. Pa igrat ćemo... Jel' ovo izašlo, brat? Čekaj, bre. Ako ima na Steamu, onda je izašlo, brat. Ne. Ma ne bre. Ok, evo su igre, znači Last of Us Part 1, to ćemo igrati sigurno, celu seriju, Nathan Drake celu seriju, God of War, originalna trilogija. The list of always good, it's somewhat slow start, many of some games how we hope. Ghost of Tsushima mi je najavljen svakako, Gran Turismo do jaja, ali jebi ga ne igram. Bloodborne, Demon's Souls, Sackboy, God of War, Ragnarok, da, to treba tek da izađe. Bože. Da li su još nešto, brate? Jedan huge market na PC. Hoćemo slike, trebaju nam slike, brate. Zašto gomila teksta kad može slike, brate? I da vidimo šta još ima od novih igara, brate, što izlaze za... Ne. Spet nego generalno. Gor.
Eating or something, just a heads up. The game will be coming
Texas
to
Chainsaw
PC,
Massacre.
PlayStation and Xbox.
Ok, tačno me zabole kurac za horror igrice. A, ovo je ono... što će vjerojatno biti stranje, nažalost. Što Bethesda radi, valjda, ne?
Perhaps.
Starfield, da. Starfield, brat.
Coming up behind that, and 6, whenever that pure gameplay. This game's now releasing next year into PCs and Xbox consoles only, and it's just to get a better picture, the biggest video game in terms of scale that was ever made so far. Take a look.
You will be part of solving that puzzle now.
Mislim, vidjet ćemo kakav bude, ako bude dobro do jaja, ali... Meni deluje kao, brate... Deluje mi kao da će biti krš. Gledate neki gameplay i nešto, brate. Citizen će biti bolji, Citizen nikad neće izaći. BG Citizen je prevara da uzmu pare, brate, i da ostane zauvek u nekoj alfa verziji. Da, Star Citizen. To je prevara, brate, to je ono bukvalno muzač novca, brate, ljudi, brate. I komp koji će ti trebati za Star Citizena, ono... Ovo je single player, Star Citizen je multiplayer koji je ono... ludnica i Star Citizen već se igra, brate, uveliko, ono, godinama, ali to je... jako loša igra, ne znam da si ispratio, brate, gameplaye ljudi koji su igrali. Ja sam gledao dosta i streamova i ono, YouTube videa i... nije to neka igra koja će... Neka igra koja ima neku veliku budućnost, brate, za šire mase, brate. To je samo jedna dobra, zlatna koka, brate, da muze. Ovo je nešto totalno drugačije.
Today, we'll reintroduce a bit of the game's story.
Resident Evil 4 also just went on and got itself another gameplay trailer. Apparently the game will indeed retain the third-person perspective with vastly improved graphics, but with the same lonely atmosphere, if not actually worse, according to Capcom. Resident Evil 4 remake will be a full reimagining of the original, but with modern flourishes and more. Check it out. Here's a new trailer. Resident Evil 4 releases on March 24 next year for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and also PCs.
Čekaj, a Resident Evil, brate, jel postoji?
The main enemies of this game. Wait for him. The experience of being attacked by hordes of crazed ganado is truly an iconic moment from Resident Evil. In order to truly bring out the concept of terror of people controlled by madness, the ganado have been completely redesigned. Let's take a closer look at the game itself.
Je li ovo remake, brate, starih, ha?
Leon arrives at a dense and dangerous forest. We want to nail the feeling of loneliness and fear of not knowing what lies ahead, even more so than the original. Of course, there will also be thrilling battles. People that played the recent Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 should find this familiar. Look forward to future announcements, where we'll have more information on the game.
Sergeant Leo Alvarez of the CM Leth Recon Squad.
13 euro, deluxe edition.
Tantalus base, locate the ComSat relay, and bring it back online. We found the relay, but there was a problem.
Revealed at the Summer Game Fest, on the other hand, we just came across a brand new alien game named Apparently a single-player, squad-based action shooter, probably a Here's more of a cinematic trailer that Focus Entertainment came up with, and the news that the game arrives on PlayStation 5 for Xbox consoles and PCs sometime next year.
Oh, this ain't good.
Aliens Dark Descent, čudim samo na što liči ovaj, brate. Resident Evil 2, Tevra je prvi Resident Evil koji sam ja igrao, brate. Da, Leon i Claire, brate. Kada odigramo Spider-mana, mogli bi da odigramo Resident Evil, brate. Ovo je ipak legendarna igra, brate. Dobro izgleda, brate. A, šta kažete? Spider-Man pa Resident Evil 2. Šta, ček da ima, Resident Evil, koliko delova ima? Zašto nema Cats, brate? Remake. Čekaj što ima od Resident Evila sve zajedno. Nada. Kako nema, brate? Čekaj, Resident Evil Remake. Fan remake, aha, prvi deo ipak neće, nije pravljen od strane, zvanično kao od strane kompanije, brate. Dobro, bitno je da ima to za nekih tako 5-10 evra, mislim možda se ode na All Keys Shop i dok ćeš ovdje Resident Evil 2. I, brate, nađeš za 8 evra, brate, Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3 za 10. Da vidim, Resident Evil 2, 864 na Gamivu, na nebi 10 evra. Steam gift, region EU. I sold out. What? Pa koga vi jebete? Ma, CGS Keys, brate, najbolji sajt. U tom slučaju ima se uzme za 10 eura, što je okej, brate, kinta.
What we found was a new kind of evil. And it found us first.
What?
This.
Šta je ovo jebate? Ne seri. Odjeba ih.
만약에 말이야.
Kakav je sad ovo alien, brat?
만약에 누군가 당신을 죽이고 내가 복수한다고 하면 당신은 뭐라고 할까?
어? 나 죽어야 하는 거야?
아니, 만약에 말이야.
What the fuck, bro?
At number 5, and this has actually been a long time coming, to be quite frank. NCSoft Korean developers finally came out and released another trailer for what we came to know by the name Project M. What is technically described by the company as a dramatic, thrilling adventure about a guy getting revenge on his lover's death. This is actually Unreal Engine 5 and seems to be taking quite a bit of inspiration from another game going by Heavy Rain. Check it out.
Ovo izgleda baš dobro jebote, a? Šta je ovo? Dead Space remake. Ovo će da grmi.
Take a look outside. Did you know that they call Callisto the Dead Moon?
Ovo će da bude ludnica, te bro.
Just like you would have been if I hadn't fished you out of that wreck.
Alright. The Callisto protocol is set to launch December 2nd this year, and ahead of the upcoming Dead Space remake due next year. And it is now coming to pretty much every single platform there is. Here's the thing, Krafton and Skybound developers to make even more hype for the game, in addition to the gameplay trailer that came up a week ago, just came out and revealed another one showcasing actual real-time gameplay. Check it out, in case you missed it.
Jeste, Callisto Protocol se zove, ali ovo su fanovi Dead Space-a, brate, koji će napraviti, brate, ozbiljnu hororčinu, brate. Ovo će bude priča, brate. Ovo će bude baš dobra igra, brate. Mislim, da će biti, ne znam, ali izgleda baš dobro. Problem je što ja ne razmišljam šta pričam, te, brate. Ja kažem, bit će baš dobro, a meni samo izgleda dobro. Daš, malo se razlikuje, bit će dobro i izgleda dobro, zar ne? Ne znam koliko se glasno čuje, brate. Se dovoljno glasno čuje, brate, igra u pozadini. Neće malo se smanja, minus 15 decibela da bude. Pođadi. Šta je ovo jebot? DVR daja što Team Ninja.
Coming up at number 7,
Fallen
Dynasty from a few days ago, assuming you've missed out on the news, was probably one of the biggest surprise reveals in Bethesda's showcase alongside other games like Starfield. This is basically the latest project from the makers of Nia by Cemo and Team Ninja, and said to be coming to PCs and consoles early next year. Check it out.
Ovo izgleda dobro, samo da nije nešto previše teško, vrat. Da nije neka Souls-like igra. Inače izgleda baš dobro. Lubu! Ono je Lubu, jebat. Šta je ovo? Ovo je neki Final Fantasy. Ovo je neki Final Fantasy, 100%.
Now, just in case you somehow missed out, Square Enix also released a new trailer for Final Fantasy XVI just now, in addition to a release window of summer 2023. Supposedly the game is coming to the PlayStation 5 and PCs only, and seeming to be some sort of a timed exclusive. Final Fantasy XVI is, as you can see, a single-player focused action RPG, like a lot of previous entries in the series, and this is how it actually looks like.
Također bih voleo da pređem, brate, Final Fantasy, brate, 7. To je... onaj remake isto, brate, to je isto dobro. Ako nađem tako za neki 50 evra, brate, uzet ću.
Our duel will shake the island to its foundations.
Dobro, Behemoth Odin. Ko je ovo, brate? Baš je epsko sranje Final Fantasy.
There will be losses, it is true. Yet for every citizen who falls, another can be built.
Okay, next.
Last question, Dr. Dallin. Are you sure the perimeter surrounding the zone is really enough? If a powerful emission were to occur, we would...
Listen, the zone has remained stable for years. Besides, we didn't establish the most advanced institution in human history without first guaranteeing its safety. As the head of the Scientific Institute for Research of the Chernobyl,
Ne vjerujem što ne stavi ime igra odmah, brate, ono. Šta me tu potpaljuje, brate, ono, sa ovim, brate.
GSC Game World, on the other hand, also just released a brand new trailer for Stalker 2 out of Chernobyl. In addition to the news, the game is now pushed back to 2023.
Jeste, pogurali su je, brate, zato što... Pogurali su je zato što neće završiti, brate, ali ovo je jedna od igara koju isto čekamo, brate, budući. Ako nas ovi vamo sa istoka i ovi sa zapada, ako ne krenu bacaju nuklearke, imamo dosta dobrih igara da igramo u narednih par godina, brate. Ako nas ne dignu u pičku materinu svi, brate. Stalker izgleda baš dobro. Ovo je Street Fighter, ne?
Few days ago, technical Street Fighters and
šta?
Wanted Industries, just a few days ago after a couple of months of silence, once again, went on and released a new trailer for Wanted Dead. See, Wanted Dead is an action game that basically mixes swordplay with gunplay, like a third-person shooter, but at the same time a hack and slasher. The story here, since we didn't mention before, actually follows a week in the life of a zombie unit in Hong Kong, and mainly revolving around conspiracy theories. Check it out, this game is releasing around holidays this year.
Mix it with both hands, unless you have only one.
Oh.
You feel pain?
Do you?
Dobro, ovo izgleda do jaja. Kao Cyberpunk, brate, samo luđe, brate. Dugo mi se sviđa ove kombinacije s mačevima i pištoljem, brate. Katana! Ovo izgleda baš dobro, bro.
Of a terrible war that happened across the sky. Heroes fought and died to give us a chance to start over.
Šta je ovo jebot?
Moving on, we've got Ark 2, the sequel to the 2017 survival game Ark Survival Evolved that just went 100% free to play on Steam for those of you who missed out. Literally the finest survival game of all time, if not one of them. Ark 2, on the other hand, will be a third-person Souls-like action RPG, pretty different to the original formula, obviously. This game is set to be released next year and also a Microsoft exclusive. Check it out. Here's some gameplay.
Diga čelavi, jebate što? Koji kurac, bre? Nije valjda on glavni lik, brat.
And you could catch her and end this war. Young Rentier, still on your father's leash, I see.
What did you see while Felicity was in your head?
Death.
Flying Wild Hog and Focus Entertainment
Evil West.
The release of Shadow Warrior 3.
20. septembar ove godine.
Finally, just a few days ago came out and revealed a release date of September 20th this year for Evil West. To accompany that, however, they also released a trailer on what looks like some gothic or testosterone-filled stuff you'll probably see nowhere else this entire 2020.
Šta je ovo?
Check it out.
Vampire Hunter, ne seri, ti si šta, Van Helsing neki jebote, a? Evil West. Izgleda ja. Ovo me ne zanima. Ja se izvinjam ljubiteljima automobila, preskačemo.
Guys, a couple of weeks ago, we actually got about 15 more minutes of gameplay on Gotham Knights. Now, just in case you missed out, Summer Game Festival actually kicked off a new trailer just a few days ago, giving us an even deeper look at Nightwing's gameplay. Now, as
On je lep čovek naspram mene.
Previously mentioned, the game will feature co-op through campaign. This is always set in the wake of Batman's death and featuring pretty much every single character. But
ovo bi bilo da ja da bude crossplay i onda da igramo, brate, naš par da se zajebamo. Znam da bi Pera i Brendan. Da bi Brendan i Koske, na primjer, ovo htjeli da igramo.
Also protect Gotham and co-op with a friend. Here's Red Hood. Red Hood gained new abilities after being resurrected by an assassin cult. Here, he uses mystical leap to move across the rooftop, springboarded by his own soul energy. Successful attacks and dodges build up my momentum bar below, and timing my strikes and combos correctly makes it build faster.
On puca, dobro je.
Once the bar is full, heroes can unleash powerful abilities. Red Hood's ranged attacks are a little louder. He fires non-lethal rounds that still do a lot of damage. Here's Red Hood's barrage ability, which deals piercing damage to interrupt armored attacks.
Pa cool. Šta ovi, što ima mač, te bra. Divije bicuri, a? Šta se dereš, glibavi?
Between death and transcendence, a chimera chooses death.
Coming up behind that, we've something
Solstice.
going on here
Jao,
called
vidio sam
solstice.
ovo.
Typically, I would assume what could happen if you take
Solstice.
Devil May Cry
Ili
and
Solstice?
throw it in Dark Souls' face. Developed by Replay Game Studios, however, Solstice is actually described by the folks at the company as a hack and slasher at its core, where you play the role of a warrior created by bonding two different souls. Now, since there will always be room for more games like Devil May Cry, this also seems to be a good addition to the long list. Check it out, the game's supposedly releasing September 20th and on its way to PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
Jebote, dosta igara izlazi, brat. Baš dosta igara izlazi. A volim ovo što izgleda ovako epski, ovako ova sranja, gomila, puca, demončine, neke klanje, ludilo, razumeš? Vidi polude, vidi polude. Ovo zovu dvojkom, te bra, ovo Ked, samo malo, brate. Preskočit ćemo. Ljudi, mnogo ljudi baš gotovi ovu igricu, meni ova igra krš. Živ je, znači.
To capture people's attention. So what do we build next?
Šta je ovo?
Coming up at last, we've got Saints Row, Boss Factory,
Saints Row, ne. Preskočit ćemo. To je to, a? Pa jebote. Big top 10.
Top 10 AA games coming in 2022 may sound
Double
like
A.
grandiose power, but many times are even more out there. First, because the last
Aha, ovo nisu od velikih studija, ovo su kao od slabijih studija naslovi.
I like to think of them as more like progressing on what works, taking some unique steps, and sometimes not afraid to say, we have just 3 hours.
Volim ACG ovog, brate, ali ga udavi čovek, brate. A generalno,
one of the weapons you can now use is a long, which is the results of that they deliver his new Serenade screen friendly for so long. Now, of course, Plague Tale wouldn't be the same if the game didn't up the plague.
Plague Tale dvojka.
Not only do you have more rats at your command, 300,000 on screen sometimes at once, as well as a new number of weapons when Hugo doesn't feel like serenading waves of four-legged shin chompers and unleashing them onto
ovo je dobra igra, brate, ovo ću preći sigurno. Kedza smo prešli, brate. Mislim da smo Kedza prešli baš na YouTube, brate. Dobro, nećemo mnogo da gledamo, šta je ovo? A, to je to.
Talenters old Paris with iconic location expect an action RPG, equipment, skills, special moves, a huge location that you can travel via robot horse carriage, and it's got Dark Souls stylings as well in the exploration. The People's Revolt has been hugely suppressed by the army of robots deployed by the King's Order, the year of storming of the Bastille and the start of the monarch's downfall. And that's right, in this alternative history, King Louis not only played with his dolls, he made his own murder Barbies and Kens and sent them out to destroy his enemies. But like all dolls that you love, Machine.
Ne mogu Dark Souls igrice, ja sam pička za to. Naporno mi je mnogo. Probao sam, ne, dosadno mi je, vrate, ono... Ne mogu da igram duže od, vrate, sat vremena tako igra.
Draw out frames. This is what system is the revolution that had Wild Hog games.
Evil West,
War with guns. Evil never sleeps, but it bleeds. The menace is much just got superhero, eradicate the vampire, jump, weapons, your hunting tools, and your skills. You unlock apparently has uppercutting enemies with a giant robot. Clues about what's happened beneath the surface of the planet.
Ovo je taj kao Dead Space. Ali nije.
Warhammer Darktide. If anyone knows battle systems, it's Fat Shark. Vermintide 1 and 2
Je li igrao neko od vas Vermintide, brat?
But it's difficult to say that their combat wasn't a boilerplate template that many other companies now try to crib Warhammer old fantasy. The angry insect
sad izlazi, brate.
city. And it's up to you and up to 3 friends to weed out the seeds of corruption like farmers killing weeds with flamethrowers. And the best way to dig out crime and corruption is, of course, using the same thing to do it.
Neka, brate. Neka, samo ti.
You. Criminals and scum of your own right, you're basically forced by the Inquisition to do their dirty work, and as the devs have stated, possibly raising up in favor with the Inquisition depending on the tasks
Ovo će biti dobra igra, baš. Ali ove igre nemaju dug vek. Ovo je ono, uđeš s ekipom, brate, izdrokate, brate, horde neprijatelja. I to je to.
I'm out into wet red close and minish when it comes to those friends were homicidal maniacs covered in there. Actually, they want players to feel like loving. One of the best IPs was handed out to the best groups, and that's in the Deliver Us Mars. So humanity is at greater peril ever in this story. It's in the wake of the Fortuna mission, which was carried out 10 years ago. Mankind's still in dire straits and consistently looking towards Mars for colonization and the possibility of continuing human life. So you embark on this huge trip to help save humanity. Earth's youngest astronaut, Kath, the mission set on the moon.
Ok, šta god, ideš na Mars, brate, spašavaš svet, bolan me kurac. Vidit ćemo kad izađe.
Yes, I am aware this is a VR game on the list.
VR, ok, ne, hvala dođenje. Nisam ljubitelj VR-a, brate. Za mene VR nikad neće biti, brate, ono, igrica za igranje. Ili barem dok to ne dođe, ali previše ti treba za VR, brate, da bi to bilo ono što ja želim da, ili što mislim da je gaming, brate.
VR title. With me here, Star Trek Resurgence, an upcoming choice-based adventure title forum. And they play a ton of games. This title to me looks awesome. Some have said it's not a budget game. Some have said it's an indie. Some have said, well, argued otherwise. I don't care. It is a B title to me. It's a cat platformer. It looks like one hell of an immersive storytelling game. So it's here for me. It's a sign of excitement and not repetition that I'm mentioning it again. It's a game that's a third-person adventure game, has open-world elements, exploration, and atmosphere overall. The player controls a stray cat who falls into a world has to travel across the game world, performing puzzles by getting the characters to move around with them, traversing platforms to get back to their family. You're also teamed up with a droid, which I actually think looks very cool. We don't necessarily know what this game's going to offer, but a lot of times B titles, AA titles, do just that and surprise you with that different feeling. Sure, I know a lot of people are hoping that Stray, the cat game, is then getting a sequel called Stray, the dog game. I hope that as well. But right now, what I'm seeing in the game, special attack, but who knows? And this last one is yours. I want to know what you guys think. We could say honorable mentions might be something like Saints Row. Saints Row is certainly now a B title, I think we can all agree. But it's looking pretty rough, which is why it's not on my list. But I want to know what title that you actually think out of these, or...
Da li ima nešto pametno, vrate, na Substance? Repairs... Zašto smo usamljeni? Mnogo volim ovaj, brate... Ovaj kanal, The School of Life. Šta kaže Bajira, brate?
But yeah, look, you get Die by the Sword and Enraged Regen as Fury. You can take Shockwave and Spear, and then eventually when you get more points, you can take Avatar. You can take like Tormented Kings with Avatar. You can take Dragon Roar with like the roar thing.
Jest.
I mean, the warrior talent trees are actually nuts. They're really good.
Ima dve obrve, ja imam jednu.
I think there's a lot to be tested
spojen.
With these, and I think that when you have all your talents, it's going to be even crazier. Right, so like if you wanted to, you could have Spear, Avatar, Shockwave, Odin's Fury with Anger Management and Siegebreaker. Like, while having double time, Stormbolt, Enraged Regen and Parry, and you still have Slaughterhouse as Fury. So you still, and you have a Mortal Strike. But yeah, look, you get...
Ovo je boleština, brat, sad će bude Warrior. Eto, i nadam se da će, brate, WoW biti dobra igra, jer definitivno bih voleo, brate, da se kako se zove... Da se vratim na WoW. Da, brate, ovo sam sinoć nešto krenuo da gledam. Dakle, rekli su da neće biti Call of Duty 2023, ali izgleda će biti, brate. Rekli su da će praviti 2 godine između igara, ali izgleda da neće i da jedu govno.
Deviate and shift the other. And it looks like some of even the top insiders out there may have had their information a bit wrong, because while we expected Modern Warfare 2 to be a 2-year game lasting us until Treyarch's next project, rumored to be in 2024, well, it turns out that might not be the case anymore.
Čak možda i obrišem Modern Warfare sad zašto mi opet pukla igra, brate, ne radi mi kako treba.
3
dana je radila, 3 dana i krenula da pucam.
Did you think the idea of a 2-year content cycle and a year off was a good idea, or too good to be true perhaps? What do you think will be filling that gap in 2023? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with all things Call of Duty, whether it be Warzone and what we know about 2023, or what we thought we knew about 2023 and beyond. Because up until this point, we kind of considered that Modern Warfare 2 would be the first game to really last longer than 1 year, giving Treyarch effectively another year to master their upcoming project, that then being moved to a release in 2024. Back in February, major industry insider Jason Schreier reported, for the first time in 2 decades, Call of Duty will skip a year. Activision has delayed into the 2023 endpoint, would kickstart year 2 of Modern Warfare 2. Now, dissecting that a little bit further, a long and storied history of being accurate with his reporting. He even broke some other big scoops for Call of Duty in the past, so for a long time, that seemed to be the case in regards to what would be happening for the upcoming year, 2, and 3 beyond. It seemed like people accepted that, and from a developmental standpoint, that seemed pretty great from the outside. Saw the last couple of years. I mean, if the reported stories were true, Treyarch wasn't meant to have another game until what would be this past year in 2021, with 2020 being a split game developed by Raven and Sledgehammer, but Treyarch had to come in and finish up that what was an independent Cold War story and make it a Black Ops game, thus Black Ops Cold War. And honestly, if I were to guess, that's probably why we didn't see James C. Burns and Sam Worthington reprise their roles. It was probably a last-second change-up, because, I mean, that stuff was reported that the game would be entirely flipped a year and a half out from the 2021 to then flip-flop with Treyarch, so that's what we got with Vanguard. While all the while, Modern Warfare 2 was untouched in its planning from Infinity Ward, so it seems like that report for Activision and their investors come out, and while they previously hinted at shutting down that rumor from Jason Schreier that we'd see an off year in 2023, also continue to make strong progress on an innovative mobile experience that will extend Warzone to the largest and fastest growing platform. Across the Call of Duty ecosystem, the teams are well positioned to support these launches with substantial live operations, while also continuing development of new premium content planned for 2023 and beyond, seemingly implying that 2023 will not actually be a year off, with Charlie Intel then coming in and clarifying that this is not more Modern Warfare 2 content. Activision refers to the year COD release as a premium as it's paid. So definitely implying something more than just new content is coming next year, with a winky face. Charles, what do you know? I want to know the twist, man.
Ne sviđa mi se, brate, zato što taman su bili, mislim, gledaj, činjenica je da oni, ako baš ne budu pravili DLC-eve i šta ti ja znam, nemaju mnogo šta da ponude, brate, više od godinu dana. Osim kao Warzone kontenta i šta ti ja znam. I da ta jedna igra koja im, kako se zove, ta jedna igra koja im bleji, brate, koja im izlazi sljedeće godine, ne znam šta pričam, bože me sačuvaj, ta igra koja im izlazi sljedeće godine, ta igra im ono, jebi ga, da content, pare, priču, ono, ali je problem što naprave, brate, ono Black Ops i spoje ga s ovim. Što samo ovaj studio ne pravi Black Ops, ovaj pravi Modern Warfare i onaj tamo šta god. I onda, brate, kao te igrice nek izlaze kako izlaze, nemoj da ih spajaš, nek budu 3 stvari za sebe, kao Call of Duty, mislim, ne znam. Ne mogu da gledam ovo. Ljudi, vreme je da se razilazimo. Najavit ću sljedeći stream kad god bude bio. Zanima me da li ja imam opciju kao streamer ovdje sada, na primjer, da raidujem nekog, jer su ubacili su to da može da se raiduje. Samo me zanima gdje to stoji, brate. Analytics, stream, health, stream, settings. Trebalo bi da bude, ali ne znam gdje je. Trebalo bi da ima kao redirect ili tako nešto. Istražit ću malo više o tome. Hvala svima što ste svratili. Nadam se da ste se zabavili fino. Da vam se svideo, brate, ovaj Edith Finch. Budite mi dobri. Sljedeći stream ću najaviti definitivno u nekom trenutku. Mislim, uvijek dan ranije ili večer ranije, da možete da znate, brate. Trebalo bi nedelju da raidujemo nešto u Destiniju, brate, da se skupi nas tu 6 pa da prođemo raid, pa ću vjerojatno to streamati. Ako ne, onda se odmaram. Trebalo bi sredinom septembra da imamo onaj, sjećate se da smo pričali o onom kao meetupu, kao kanal, mislim, mishathepunk kao meetup, gdje bismo se svi družili, videli se uživo, družili se i sve to, i to bi trebalo negdje sredinom septembra da se desi. Biće neki roštilj, biće neko pivo, ja ću vidjeti tu da rešim stvari što više mogu, svi ste dobrodošli, imajte to negdje u planu. Eto, da bude da znate, znaš. Svako ću napraviti poseban video za to, također snimit ćemo ceo taj event, mislim event, napravit ćemo roštilj u šumi, te bra. Ali kao celo to okupljanje ćemo, brate, da snimimo, napravit ćemo neki video, brate, pa sam mislio da to postane kao godišnja stvar. Da svake godine okupimo tako. To bi bilo strava. Tako da. Hvala svima, brate, budite mi dobro i vidimo se u sljedećem streamu. Kad je, ne znam, kad budu izašle neke igre, jer nema smisla streamati, brate, ni svaki dan, ni više puta nedeljno, ako baš i nema šta da se igra. Evo, ova igra danas mi je bila strava. Ako budem iskopao nešto do jaja, ako ne, eto, sačekat ćemo Spidermana, posle toga Resident Evil-e, dok... Eto, možemo da popunimo, zapravo dosta će igara izaći umeđu vremena i možemo baš dosta vremena da popunimo. Zanima me, Final Fantasy je li izašao? Final Fantasy... 80 evra. 80 ti majki jebem. Da nemoj me zajebavati. Sam ja loše napisao na koga vi jebete? A ovo je... čekaj, remake definitivno piše u imenu. 4. Platforma PC, da, ne? Šta je ovo? Ne, onda je, brate... DLC Season Pass. Mrš! Pa jel moguće da ovome cena, brate, ovolika, brate? Pa, to je što je. Ništa ljudi, budite mi dobro, vidimo se u sljedećem streamu, hvala što ste svratili i ljubim vas bankirica je. Aj zdravo.